all they went over was
William, they have a family
like
business,
legislation
so it was
stuff.
dad.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Okay.
it was so
Dad,
boring.
grandfather.
And I think I had something the exact
So-
same day, maybe the same day.
You know, if you don't
So
work
I didn't
12
even
hours
It was
a day,
awful.
you have a
superintendent one.
Yeah.
kind of-
The only thing I took away
So
from
he
it,
didn't want to go back.
School board meeting will now come to order. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none.
I think there is one.
There is one.
It's a policy that needs to be added.
Okay.
It's one that we added in our section.
what else supposed to say?
The acceptable use
I don't think she gave it to you.
regulation. You just make a motion to accept the,
To accept the acceptable use. Can I make a motion to accept the acceptable use regulation?
I second it.
Moving properly second, any question? All in favor? Aye. Motion is so carried. Next, we have public announcements.
It's just one thing.
It's just one thing.
No,
Summertime.
yeah, okay. Next, public announcements. One, coming up event, at Middlesex Schools. Let's see,
Let's just say we're closed one day.
we're closed for June 19th, for Juneteenth. That is it for public announcements. All right. Okay, next we have public comment. Floor is now open for public comment.
and you'll have to ask if anyone signed up. I don't have the sheet.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Davelyn Gresham, Saluda District, and it's real short tonight. I don't need a 3-minute timer. I have one question. I want the board to let me know why we've paid Sands Anderson almost $200,000 in 1 year. I'd like to know what that's for. That is an excessive amount to pay one law firm. So I'd like to know why we're paying them so much money. Thank you. And I would like an answer.
Anyone else?
Public comment now? All right, board member committee reports. Do we have any?
The Chesapeake Bay Governor's School Joint School Board will meet this Thursday just to wrap up the year with some motions. The meeting's at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the school construction committee meeting?
Matter of fact, I just talked with Dr. Sykes about that. Still in the planning session for a meeting with the
To schedule a joint work session.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's really what I had to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Still working on it.
Still working on that. Hard to get everybody together.
It is.
Okay. Okay. We have some action items. Reimbursement resolution.
Yes, and so that is in your packet. That is an annual, it's the VPSA FY 2026 reimbursement resolution. VDOE requires us to sign it each year in June so that we can begin purchasing in July. And then the bond is issued the following May, and it's paid back at that time. So it does require approval, and then we'll also have a signature for that.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moving proper second. Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is so carried. Next, we have VSBA Policy Service Agreement.
Yep, and that is an annual agreement with VSBA to provide policy review, revisions, and when new policies are required by the code, we just went through that. And then consultation with staff members of VSBA. It is an annual agreement that needs to be approved and signed at the end.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Is there an amount?
That's what I was looking for.
Is there an amount that, has the fee gone up at all?
I do not remember what the fee was from last year. I feel like it's the same though. I feel like it's the same. I could look into that.
Okay,
I don't have the answer for you right now though.
all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare say a number, but I remember there is one tied to it, but I don't.
Number 3.
Yeah, and so the fee this year is $2,100 for the services agreement.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable. I'll
Yeah.
move that we approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Proper second. Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is so carried. Policy revision, first reading.
All right, first read. So we reviewed policies in our work session this evening. There are updates or legal updates related to changes in the reference to the code or cross-reference, or some were just updated for clarification. Included in that are some new policies that are required because of new legislature. And I'll review, I'll just kind of list what they are. Policy EBBC, opioid antagonists. I'm also going to give you an update on regulation in the information session. JFCM, student cell phone and smart device possession and use. And as you remember, we already had a regulation for that we opened the school year with. It is in line with the policy requirements. And again, in the information section, you'll see that there's an update to the regulation where we've just changed the title of the regulation. Couple more, JJAG, Student Athlete Extreme Heat Safety and Protection. We actually are already following VHSL guidelines for this practice. We are updating those procedures that we reviewed a little bit in the work session to reflect the best practices for MCPS, and then we'll add them as a regulation to the policy. There were two policies that we reviewed and we recommended pulling them, and the first I did not write in my notes. And that is the one related to mathematics. And I apologize, I didn't put that one in my notes here. I've got the second one.
IGBJ.
What was that?
IGBJ.
IGBJ, yes, the advanced or accelerated math, I make the recommendation that we hold off on that until we can get more clarification from the Department of Education, because the information that we need, if we were to put this into the policy into practice, we don't have yet. And then the second one that we reviewed, and in the work session, the recommendation was made by the board to hold off on was KGD, notification of school-connected student overdoses. And so just as a reminder on that, it requires notification to parents within 24 hours of a student overdose that occurred on school premises or during school-sanctioned activities. The concerning pieces also were notification of a suspected student overdose when naloxone was administered. And another concern is the privacy of the student. And I shared in that meeting that it was recommended by the VSBA attorney to seek advice from our school-based or school board counselor, and so we will also pull that policy and not have it as a first read policy. So those were the new policies. And so the policies before you as first read, I request approval that they remain up for review for these changes, excluding policy IGBJ and policy KGD.
And for those last two that you mentioned that are being pulled, you may bring them back to the board.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely.
In the future. So then I move that we approve on first reading the policies other than those two.
Okay.
Second.
Moving properly second. Question? All in favor? Aye. Motion is so carried. All right, next we have some information items.
All right, and that will stay with me also. And so this is where I'm going to reference the changes that are made to the regulations. They do not need board approval, and they are for information. And so the ones that are up here are in the agenda for an update. The first one is a revision to IIBEA-R/GAB-R. There's the exact same policy that also has the title GAB-R/IIBEA-R, and that is Acceptable Computer System Use Regulation. And we revised that to include reference to generative artificial intelligence, because we are updating that policy to include training for both staff and students. The second update to regulation is JHCD-R, and it is being revised and renamed EBBC-R to align with the new policy on opioid antagonists. And so we already had a regulation in place under medication administration. Now that we have a policy specifically on opioid antagonists, we're changing just the policy reference there. And then the third revision to regulations is JFC-R2 is revised and renamed JFC-R, and that is to align with the new policy JFCM on cell phone and smart device possession. Last year, we put a policy into place, or a regulation in place for cell phone use. This year, we are required to have a cell phone and smart device possession policy, and the regulation that we had in place completely aligns to that policy already. And so the change is simply changing the policy reference JFCM, and then we've updated the name of the regulation to match the name of the policy. And so those are the information items that I have with reference to regulation changes.
Okay, thank you. All right, we want to continue with you. Next we have superintendent's report. report.
No, we have instructional report from.
Oh, that's just, yeah.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
that's
We won't
from,
leave it out.
Don't leave them.
it's okay. I'm just, a quick report. Today, we had over 20 people in the St. Clair Walker Media Center. We are looking at the new resources that the school board approved to purchase for our math, K through geometry, algebra 2. And we had teachers from kindergarten all the way through the high school working on building out curriculum maps, looking at the curriculum, not only the resources from the textbooks, but also all the other resources to make sure that we're aligned with our new standards. And then we're also creating, at the elementary level, things to go home. Communication for parents to, a new unit is coming forth and it's on fractions. So just a very short, very concise way that a parent could actually kind of see what's being taught and kind of work with their students. So that is a big day today, which was about, people stayed, way past the time that was allotted, but they're going to work over the summer. And I'm very excited about the progress that those dedicated teachers are doing. And I appreciate the support from the principals. Also, Carol Walsh was there, Jessica Tuning, Macy McNamee, admin. We were all there to support those math teachers. So that is that just the instructional report that we are continuing to move forward with what we need to do for next year.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Dr. Sykes, Superintendent's report.
Superintendent's report to kind of close it out. And so just another year we have completed. In addition to graduation, we had 2 promotion ceremonies, both held here for 5th graders and for 8th graders. There were multiple other events within the division. We still have sporting events that are ongoing, and we've got some state champions. And as Dr. Bishop shared, the work doesn't stop for many of us during the summertime. We do an administrative retreat immediately following the closing of school. We started that, I think, since the first year of superintendent. So it's a lot of work preparing for it. So we held that last week. We have all of our principals, assistant principals, directors, curriculum specialists. We spent 2 days off-site to really kind of debrief for the year and then start planning more in-depth what's needed for the following year. And so there will be continued meetings during the summer to address what those needs are. Like I said, lots of work that's ongoing there. Next month, Karen and I will plan to probably bring to you a budget update for approval, because the budget that you approved in March is not the budget that the Board of Supervisors fully funded. And so we also were waiting on the General Assembly and the governor's budget, all of that to settle and finish. And so next month means the new fiscal year, and we'll bring those final numbers to you for approval. Potentially, we may be able to fill a couple of the other new positions that we had proposed in the initial proposal that we didn't receive local funding for, and so we're still looking into those details, but we'll have that when we come next month. This Thursday, I get to host the Region 3 Superintendent's Annual Meeting, and that will take place at the Pancake River Golf Club. And so we'll have the 17 superintendents in Region 3 that come from Stafford County down to Matthews County, as far south as they go. And then part of that retreat, we'll have various presentations. One that I'm really excited about is the Director of Accountability from the Department of Ed will be there to present and answer questions about the performance framework, which is our new accountability model. And so I don't really have any other updates on the performance framework right now. I do have a committee meeting tomorrow with the committee that I serve on with BDOE, and so it will be a lot more information to come with reference to the framework. Some of that still is not quite settled, and so we're hoping to get more answers as we move into the next school year. And so that is my update for this evening.
Before we go into old business, Ms. Fleet? Yes, sir. Well done on the graduation. You've done an excellent job with it for years, and we commend you for the job well done, and look forward to going through another one next year.
It was fun.
And thank you for taking the time to be here with us this evening. All right. Any old business? Any new? Hearing none. At this time, the board will go into closed session. Pursuant to the Code of Virginia, the board will go into closed session to discuss personnel matters, student matters, and legal matters. May I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
Moving proper second, we are now in closed session. closed session?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
Moving properly second. In pursuant of the Code of Virginia, the board discussed personnel matters, student matters, and legal matters during closed session. Matters discussed in closed session have been added to the consent agenda and other parts of the agenda as action and information items. Board members, please certify that only lawful matters were discussed in closed session. Board members respond by roll call.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mrs. McMurtry,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
and Ms. Robbins.
Yes.
Okay. Only thing left now is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moving properly second, we are now adjourned.